Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, with a cup of tea in the love mug. Trying to keep the love going, Anyway, hi, how are you all? I hope you've had a good day. Let's see. Now then, there's a couple of things. First thing I want to show you about Anna is, gosh, again, always got all these windows open, haven't I? Let's remind ourselves. And now CNN have got on the case. So I do feel that Anna's case, which started off, her best friend Sana was saying that maybe there wasn't enough attention given to Anna, or that the police maybe weren't taking it seriously, etc. in Spain. But they definitely are taking it seriously, and I'm going to show you why. But CNN are on the case, which I thought was interesting. So it's picking up. So this article that I'm going to read is from today, from the 20th of February. So it's picking up more attention in America now as well, which of course will always put pressure on the FBI, and the FBI will be in contact with the Spanish authorities. So it just any attention. Oh, and I forgot to say hello to anyone who's watching on my other channel, because I'm sharing this video to my other channel as well, my Spanish channel, because it is about a case in Spain. And the same with the other case that I'm going to talk about. They're both actually people missing in Spain. So Anna is an American citizen and Levi is British. Now, Anna went missing quite a long time ago now, unfortunately. Believe it or not, she's 40 years old. She looks much younger, I think. And she disappeared on February the 2nd. So we're looking at 18 days now that she's been missing. So, it is very worrying. I still hold out hope that maybe she's been kidnapped, and, not that I want her to have been kidnapped, but that's probably the best case scenario, that she's been kidnapped and she is alive and well somewhere, and at some point they will release her. Because she failed to meet a friend earlier this month, but before that, what had happened was she'd been texting a friend. She was looking for a new apartment in Madrid. I wonder if she wasn't staying in like an Airbnb, because the lease on the apartment she was renting was due to run out. So she was flat hunting. She was looking for a new flat. So, she could have encountered someone. She was on her own in Madrid. So she could have encountered someone in her flat hunting. You just don't know. She's an attractive woman. You don't know if somebody had stalked her. Just don't know what happened, do we? So apparently she requires medication, so that's a worry. She was immediately classed as a vulnerable missing person. So, and she is on the missing persons website. And something else, so I just want to show you this. I think she is now on all ATMs. So when people go and take their money out at the ATMs here in Spain, her missing poster will come up. I think that's a brilliant idea, isn't it? Because everybody needs to use, when they're thinking about how to maximize attention on a case, well, everybody uses banks, the ATMs at some point, don't they? Or most people do. So, it's a brilliant way of getting her face out there. So that's something that's been done by the missing persons department in Spain. They've put her face on all these ATMs. So that's a brilliant idea, I think. So that can only be a good thing, can't it, to help? Right, I've got to find my way back to that. There it is. I'll put that down. Oh, right, I need to go back to the news article now. There it is. So they are taking it seriously and they are trying the best. So Spain's Interior Ministry identified the woman as Ana Maria Knezevich Henao, saying she disappeared on February the 2nd and requires medication. So she's actually Colombian descent. Her husband is Serbian. They were married for 14 years. They're still married, but they are estranged. And we're going to hear from her husband's attorney shortly, because her husband has not said anything. And he was supposedly in Serbia when she went missing. He has not come out and said anything, but now his attorney has had an interview and said, you might wonder, why is he speaking through an attorney? But, maybe he's just being cautious. So, an image posted on Spain's National Centre for Missing Persons website shows a photo of, why do they use the surnames? Her name's Anna, with long brown hair and brown eyes. She's about 4'8" in height. She's only little. You can see that on some of the photos that we see later with her husband. She is, little titch. So her brother, Juan Felipe, told CNN she was supposed to take a train to Barcelona with a friend on February the 5th, but his sister never showed up at the Madrid station, and a missing persons report was filed with authorities that day. CNN do not know who filed the report. Anyway, police have asked authorities from other countries for information that could be relevant to the case, a Spanish government official told CNN. And Anna's friend Sana Ramo said she last exchanged messages with her on February the 2nd. And remember these strange WhatsApp messages? She received a WhatsApp message from Anna that said, "Oh, I've met someone wonderful. He's got a summer house here. We're going there to spend a couple of weeks." And Sana, her friend, has said there's no way that Anna would have gone off to spend a couple of weeks in some summer house with some guy that she just literally met on the street. So that's what she said to her. I met him on the street and there was a connection that was amazing. It's just not likely. And then, of course, the other suspicious thing that happened was when they did go when Sana, the friend, went to Madrid and went to speak to the concierge from the apartment block to find out that actually the CCTV had been disabled, had been sprayed with black paint the night that she went missing. The CCTV at the doorbell and the CCTV in the hall had been sprayed out with black paint by a man wearing a motorcycle helmet, and all you could see with his eyes. So all of it looks suspicious, doesn't it? Now, the judge originally, when the police first went to the Spanish judge to ask for permission to, check her phone data and, go into her private things, the judge refused permission because he said there was not enough evidence that been foul play. I mean, how much evidence does he need? A man in a black motorcycle helmet goes and sprays over the bloody CCTV. How much more evidence do you need of suspicious circumstances? But anyway, I presume by now he may have allowed that. So the cameras disabled were at the entrance of the building and near the elevator. Now they're saying it's unclear if the incident is related to her disappearance. And of course, that's always possible. So I suppose that's what the judge meant. He's like, it could have just been vandalism. People do mad things, don't they? But, it just seems strange that 1 minute some guy in black is there in a black motorcycle helmet spraying out the CCTV, and then that very night, or certainly by the next morning, Anna has disappeared completely. So, it seems pretty clear to me that it's probably to do with that. Anyway, the building superintendent and two other people with knowledge of the situation told CNN that police had entered the apartment with judicial authorization. So the judge did say that they could go into the apartment, but initially they refused them permission to actually, go through her phone data, etc. Anyway, her brother and Sana, her friend, told CNN that they'd been in contact separately with her husband, David Knezevich, in the days after her disappearance, and he said he was in Serbia. CNN has attempted to reach David Knezevich, but did not get a reply. Nobody's getting a reply from David except now his solicitor has come out and spoken. So two people who know the situation told CNN that Anna initially rented the apartment in Madrid from January the 5th to February the 5th. Then she extended it till March the 5th, but she was looking for another apartment. And CNN has reached out to the Spanish police, but they have declined to comment because they're still investigating. You won't get anything out of the Spanish police. That's for you just won't. Then they won't say anything until it's resolved. That is just the way it is in Spain. And so they had a business together. They had a computer services. Anna and her husband David. As I say, he's still a husband, even though they're estranged. They had a computer services company in South Florida, and it lists David Knezevich as the CEO and managing director. It says that David Knezevich is Serbian and Anna is... Why does it give his first name and not Anna's? Do they think her first name is Knezevich? Anyway, never mind. Is a native of Colombia and a project manager. CNN has contacted the company but did not get through to anyone. The US Embassy in Madrid had no comment on the case and cited privacy restrictions when asked by CNN. Which is fair enough. So what we're going to listen to now, let me just come back, make sure you're all okay. Oh, hi, Jim. Not seen you for a little while. I hope you're good. I hope the goats are okay. Hi, Ocean. I think I said hello to Mello. I think I did. I think I've said hello to everybody else. As always, sorry if I've missed you. There's a lot of food talk going on. I've had curry today. Right. So let's have a look now. What Anna's husband's solicitor had to say, and let me know what you think. To me, it's strange that why he's got a solicitor, because when you listen to this, you'll see that they didn't even have a solicitor for their divorce. They were divorcing amicably, supposedly. So why has he got a solicitor just to say why he hasn't gone to Madrid? Anyway, here we go.
To clear her head. She was going through a divorce, wanted a change of life. She was planning to travel to Barcelona for a day trip with a friend. Never showed up at the train station. Everybody says that's not like her. She sent some notes, supposedly, saying she met a guy and was going away. Everybody says that does not sound like her. She's been missing at least 17 days. We've heard from her brother, her friends, but we have not heard from her husband, David. He didn't go to Spain to help look or return to their home in Florida. He's supposedly in Serbia, which is where he has family. We've tried to contact him many times since we started our coverage. He is invited on the show at any time. He's obviously fundamental to the story. Now we have heard from his lawyer, Ken Padowitz, and we welcome him to the show. Counsel, thank you for taking the opportunity.
Thank you for having me.
Right, just want to interrupt a minute, because you know how Riley normally comes up to say hello. Well, I've got, look, hey, who's that? Who's that? You come to say hello. You come to say hello. Yes, you have. You come to say hello. So, the German Shepherd comes to say hello today. Hope you saw her. Sorry.
Me on, Chris.
So I'm not here to ask you the obvious about whether or not your client had any role in the disappearance. I assume your answer would be no. What is his explanation for his relative absence of the proceedings since she's gone missing?
Well, let me start by saying this, Chris. It is a horrible, tragic situation, and I can't even begin to imagine what it must be like for her family and her friends that she's been missing for this long period of time. I can tell you, in speaking to my client, I'm an attorney in South Florida, that he is also very concerned for the whereabouts of his missing wife. Having said that, I want to clear the air right at the beginning here. He has not been absent through the entire process. He is living in Serbia. His wife, who he's been separated from a number of months, went to Spain and then turned up missing. My client has no friends in Spain. He has no relatives in Spain. He doesn't own property in Spain. He doesn't speak the Spanish language. So for him to be expected to all of a sudden fly to...
Now, it's interesting what he's saying here, because in a moment we're going to hear her friend Sana speaking. Because he said, no, he's in Serbia. He was in Serbia. Why would, blah, 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 blah. But Sana says that in the beginning, he was not in Serbia. He was in Florida. So, and then he went to Serbia, or he said he'd gone to, it's not clear. I mean, I'm not casting aspersions on him. I don't know, that he had anything to do with it, but it is all a bit, his story is a little bit mixed up. But I do think that maybe it may be to do with someone from that actual apartment complex as well. So, we can't always think it's the husband, can we? It's just, statistics tell us that it normally is, but of course it isn't always. So, we have to keep an open mind until we know for sure.
To another country that he hasn't been in, and to attempt to do something there doesn't seem very productive. What he has been doing is he's been in touch with authorities. He's spoken to the police in Spain a number of times. I have returned and reached out to the FBI here in the United States and let them know that we are available to aid in any way. He's aided the Spanish police in giving them information on credit cards, on attempting to hire a lawyer in Spain, and do all sorts of things to aid the authorities in searching for his wife.
And in terms of his not going to Spain, you don't find that unusual?
Listen, I think it's a very personal matter. They were separated now for approximately 4 months. They were in the process of working amicably together to sell off their properties. There is no bad divorce. A divorce requires attorneys, and it's a legal process. They had not even hired lawyers. In fact, they were talking amongst themselves about hiring one lawyer to handle the divorce. So it wasn't...
Yeah, so what he's trying to say is that their divorce was so amicable that they hadn't even hired lawyers for the divorce. And they were talking about hiring just one lawyer to deal with the divorce, not one each, because it was so amicable. That's what he's saying. So then, which is fair enough, but then why hire a lawyer now then for this? Just to say whatever, he could have come on and spoken himself. I don't know what his English is like. I presume it's good if he's got a business in America. Maybe he just felt a bit uncomfortable about giving an interview in English. It won't be his first language. I don't know.
Amicable situation. It's a horrible thing that this lady is missing. And again, my heart goes out to her. And I know my client is very concerned about it. But he has been aiding the authorities and helping them in any way he can. I don't know if it's reasonable to expect that he fly to another country that he doesn't know the language, doesn't have a place to stay, and somehow that's going to make it a better search than it is already ongoing.
Was he aware that we've been trying to reach out to him to let him tell his story himself?
Yes, he originally...
Look at Cuomo's face, like the guy who's interviewing, he's like that. You can tell he's like thinking, the husband did it. But, we shouldn't think that. We should not think that, because we do not know that he had anything to do with it yet.
When he retained me, he had started to get these contacts from various media, and we decided at that point that he should remain out of the media and just continue to do help the authorities, whatever questions they had in whatever way he could help. But it comes to a point when this false narrative that there was a hotly contested divorce, which just is not true, that was located in a Fort Lauderdale police report, and it was not accurate. And so at some point, we felt it necessary to come on and to tell the world, hey, listen, this is a horrible, tragic situation, and we hope that she is found sooner than later, of course. But my client has nothing to do with her disappearance and was not even in the same country.
What does your client have to say as to why they were getting divorced?
Well, I think they just basically grew apart, is what my client told me, that they basically had been married for approximately 13 years. They were successful in business together, and they were successful financially. So there wasn't an issue. In every divorce, you have to divide assets. This wasn't an issue. They were in.
Now, I have to say, in the husband's defense, when Sana, the best friend, talks, I don't think Anna had ever told any of her friends that she had any problem with her husband. Not as far as I know, anyway. You know, from what they're saying so far, maybe there are things, you know, that can't be talked about because of whatever investigation's going on. But generally, any friend I've seen talking about him, they have not said that Anna said she felt scared of anyone, or, you know, that, which doesn't mean to say she wasn't. I'm just saying there's no evidence, if you like, you know, there's no friend on there saying, oh yes, she said that, you know, she was terrified of him or whatever. So you know, but that doesn't mean to say sometimes people don't say anything, do they?
In the process of selling properties and doing exactly that. And again, if this was a contentious divorce, which it was not, you would expect parties to hire lawyers and there would be ongoing litigation. There was no such thing was happening at the time of her divorce.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com.
So that was the interview that Cuomo, this guy, did with his lawyer. So that everybody's been trying to interview the husband, and nobody's managed to get an interview with the husband. But they did. News Nation seemed to be getting most of the interviews at the moment. But so they managed to get the interview with the solicitor. Now we're going to look at then, following that interview with the solicitor, the interview that Sana did, her friend, afterwards, following that interview. So we're going to get her thoughts on that interview. Now, something I want to say is I have been in touch with Sana to offer her sort of some advice of how to deal with Spanish authorities, etc. And she has replied. She was very nice. And because, you know, I made a suggestion, because in Spain, they're really hot at the moment on any gender violence, because Spain had a bad record of domestic violence, a terrible record, to be honest. And there's been real efforts to change this, you know, and without going into all the details of what the, you know, it's like if there's any incident of domestic violence, gender-based violence of any kind, they step on it straight away, and they're instant penalties. It's a sort of the trouble in Spain is everything's complex. It's always a complex system, but because they're so hot on anything to do with gender inequality at the moment. So I gave her, you know, well, I said I think they should contact, you know, the Prime Minister, because he's really hot on it, and he's in Madrid, of course. His party is in Madrid. Also, there's the Equalities Department. Being in Madrid, all the political bases are there. So I gave her some contacts, and she's replied to me. She's been really nice, and I just said, you know, I just hope. I told her that I'd been sharing attention through any of my social media, and you know, at the end of the day, there's nearly 3,000 people on this YouTube, but of course they're from all over. But then on my Spanish YouTube channel is also nearly 2,500 people, and Facebook, etc. So you never know. Some of them are in Madrid, and somebody might know something. So anyone who can share any information, obviously, but especially in Spain, is going to be helpful. But she was very nice, Sana. I really feel for her, because I think she feels like she's trying to deal with it all on her own. And she's finding the problem with the language barrier, etc. Anyway, so this is her response now to that interview.
In his estranged wife's investigation, how does that comment from the attorney land with you? Do you have any concerns about the husband at this point?
Hello, thank you so much for having me and helping. I just know what he told me. I had contact with him a few days after we learned that Ana was missing in Spain. I want to say it on the February 4th, February 5th. I also spoke to him a couple of days into that week, and I spoke to him on February 7th. And he told us, me and his family, that he was in Fort Lauderdale. I asked him to join me in the search effort for his wife.
Yeah, so Sana is saying there that on the 7th of February, David, he actually said that he was in Fort Lauderdale, not Serbia. So now he's, so it's a little bit contrary to what his solicitor was saying.
I went to Madrid myself on February 8th. And I spoke to him the day before, and I asked him to come and join me in Madrid and see what we could do to find Ana and to help.
So she asked him to go to Madrid. She went to Madrid on February the 8th. And I think it was her that went to the apartment and spoke to the concierge, who told them about this incident with the spray paint. So she asked him to go with her, and he didn't. So
help in any way we could. I later spoke to him that Friday, where he told me that he had gone to Serbia. So I'm very confused to the statement by his lawyer yesterday that he's been in Serbia the whole time. I'm confused to that.
Okay, let's back up here a moment then. Why did he say he?
Yeah, so but he said now through his solicitor he was in Serbia the whole time, but that's not what he said to Sana. But it's never good. Conflicting stories are never good, are they?
Did not want to go to Madrid when you gave him that invitation. What was his reasoning?
He just said to me that he didn't feel that there was anything that he could do. I asked him, and I did express to him that I was very disappointed. When I spoke to him that Friday, and he told me that he was in Serbia, I did speak to him about that. I was very disappointed that he didn't come. But his opinion at the time was that he didn't feel that there was anything that he could do in Madrid.
Okay, and what is he doing in Serbia? What is his connection there?
He's originally from there, from what I know, but what he's doing there at this time, I don't know. I have no idea. I have also just met him one time in my life, so I don't know David. I have met him.
So, of course, he's got family in Serbia, so I don't know if he regularly goes to Serbia, you know, if he's there for a birthday or if he was planning to go there anyway. You know, we don't know any of that, do we? So the thing is, this is going to be a difficult case, because you've got, obviously, the FBI are going to want to be involved because it's an American citizen. So you've got the FBI, but then you've got the Spanish police. They'll be in charge of the investigation. And I don't know what sort of relationship. I would imagine they've got a good relationship. I don't know. I mean, Spanish police, they're grown-ups, you know, like they don't get, you know, there shouldn't be all these egos come into play and everything. At the end of the day, they just want to find this woman, want to find Ana safe and well. I don't think they'll get like the ego things in this. I don't think so anyway, because I think where it'll be, there's bound to be a little bit of it, I suppose. But I don't know, they're just Spanish and more grown up. I don't know, grown up about things. So Sana was saying there that she doesn't actually. Oh, here's Riley now. Yes, it's Riley now. Sana doesn't know David very well. She's only met him once, so she doesn't know him that well. But I'm sure Anna has spoke to her about him.
Him one time in the beginning of last year when Anna and I first made friends. I met him and spoke with him, and we spent an afternoon at their home in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, so you traveled to Madrid looking for your friend Anna. What did you find there? How much information were you able to glean from authorities?
Not much information. When I got there on February 8th, that Thursday, it was almost a week that she had been gone. And I spoke to the police that Friday, and they told me that the judge had denied their request for entering her apartment and her phone records, saying that she could have left on her own. She's a missing person, and that it wasn't ruled out that she could have left on her own, even though that we learned that this man with a helmet sprayed the surveillance cameras in her building, and the messages that was sent from her phone the day after contained very strange information and false information as well, because the message said that she had met a man the day before, referring to Friday the 2nd. But she spoke to friends up until 10 p.m. that night and didn't mention to anyone that she had met someone that day. So that's
This
what happened.
all uncharacteristic.
Yeah, so suddenly she sent these texts saying she'd met this fantastic guy on the street, and but she never told any of her friends before that. That message, those messages saying that she'd met someone, was sent on the Saturday sort of evening time around about 5 o'clock. But in that time, so she hadn't mentioned this man before to any of her friends, and she was a woman who sent a lot of texts, told her friends things. She wasn't someone who just kept everything to herself. So she hadn't mentioned anything about meeting anyone else. And then, boom, the next day, 5 o'clock, out of the blue, these texts, I've met this guy, I've gone off to his summer house for 2 weeks. So, of course, it is suspicious. So what that judge was thinking of, saying that there was nothing to suggest that she was anything more than a missing person, how much evidence do you need, for God's sake? Anyway.
Of your friend based on the other friends who have come forward and shared, including yourself. Do you have any doubt in your mind that there is foul play involved in Anna's disappearance right now?
No, I have no doubt that there's foul play involved in her disappearance.
Sana.
So to me, looking at Sana's just trying to sort of control herself and not get upset, but she knows. Don't you, with your friend, with your loved one, or that, the way they normally act. And when they act out of character, if she'd disappeared a few times before, if she had sort of gone off the grid for a week or so before, you'd think, yeah, well, she's done it again, but she doesn't. So your friends, your family, and when messages are not right, like those messages were not right. And I think Sana must feel really helpless, because she's miles away, so it's a big thing to go to Madrid, from America. That's where she lives. It's a long way, it's not just, and I'm sure she's got her own things going on in her own life and work, etc. So it would have been nice to have some help from the husband, wouldn't it, and from anyone who could help.
Romo, please stay in touch with us, as we will with you, as we bring more attention to Anna's missing case here and abroad. We thank you for your time, and I'm sorry that you and all of her friends and family are going through this.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for watching. Go to News Nation.
Okay, so this is the update so far about Anna. Did I say hi to Ruth? Hi, Ruth. And there was somebody else came in. Wesley, don't think I've said hello to. But anyway, hi to anyone who's come in that I missed. So that's the story so far. Let's hope that, I'm sure the police are on it. you know, I couldn't make my mind up about David, you know, the husband. There's sort of this part of me that thinks whoever did that in that apartment block knew it well enough to know where the relevant CCTV was. You know, how would you know otherwise unless they'd cased it, you know? But, you know, of course, it's, you know, some people are professional in doing things like that, aren't they? That's what they do. It just doesn't look good. But I still think that the best case scenario is that maybe she has been kidnapped, you know, or abducted, which I know is horrible, but she may still be alive. That's the thing. So if she's been kidnapped, she may turn up. People do turn up. They don't, it's not always a terrible ending. So we've just got to hope for the best here for that poor girl. And her friends and family sort of desperate for news. So if anybody, if you're, especially if you're near Madrid or, you know Spanish people, share it. I've shared it on Spanish Twitter and, you know, English Twitter. I've tried to share it as much as I can everywhere that I can, that I think anybody might see it, that might know something. What's that, Jean? You're saying, Die Happy Vicky is doing something tomorrow. Die Happy Vicky is doing something tomorrow. Now, I don't understand that message, Jean. Do you mean that I'm doing something on Samantha tomorrow? Yeah, because of course the other person were, you know, agog, wondering what's happened to is Samantha Murphy. But I am doing a video on Samantha tomorrow. Whatever happens, I'm hoping for some more news, official news, because of course at the moment the police, they're so quiet. It actually does make me feel that they must know something, because to be so quiet, you know, they're not even sort of coming out and doing a conference asking like for information or for you know, anything. They're just not saying anything. They're so quiet. It's unbelievably quiet, the police, I think. Yeah, die happy, Vicky. But you know, the of course everybody's active on the Facebook groups and everything. They're going to do, the locals are going to do a search this weekend, going back out searching. They're organising search parties, etc. So they haven't given up with the actual search, but the police are not searching at all in that area where Samantha is supposed to have gone jogging, gone missing. There's no searching going on by the police. So, yeah, some update tomorrow, yeah. But, you know, believe me, there's no official update, but I've found out some bits and pieces. I can, you know, at least put a video together. Do you know, I haven't even been able to put a video together, like, because there was just nothing to say. That's how quiet it's been, but not, I have got some things that I can say. So then that's it with Anna. That's all we really know about Anna so far. Hopefully we'll get news. I don't know what, you know, I think the Spanish people, police do play their cards very close to the chest. So I wouldn't expect much from the police themselves until they actually arrest someone, to be honest. You know, they are very, you know, if we get frustrated with the Australian police or the British police, the Spanish just definitely won't be, you know, apart from actually putting out the request to find her, you know, and her face all over everywhere, the ATMs, etc. All their investigations will be going on behind the scenes. They won't. I'd be very surprised if they give out any information. But I will keep looking, you know, because I can look on the Spanish news things as well and see. But they're talking about it. They're talking about the disappearance, but it's just really the only information that's coming that I've found on the Spanish news is just what we'll get more news on News Nation, really, because we get the actual interviews like with the solicitor, etc., and those sort of things won't appear on the Spanish news because they're not in Spanish. So her brother has been talking on some radio stations, but in Spanish, because of course Anna was Spanish speaking, being Colombian. So he's been speaking on Colombian radio or Spanish radio things, but of course there's no point in me playing those because then, you know, there'd be a language problem. Maybe I can find a way around that. I don't know. Okay, so break would be good. But yeah, spoil yourself. Do something nice, even if it's just, you know, wallowing in a nice bath. And I'll see you soon. And until I see you again, may your God always go with you. Much love. Night, night. Bye-bye.